Well,
Keeping
anyway,
this train
oh man.
going.
So anyway, speaking of LGBTQ representation, Vulture sat down with 6 queer artists to discuss the business of being gay. For better or for worse, LGBT identities are kind of being marketed as a commodity.
That's right. So our next guest can weigh in on this. We have Andres Wydler, the executive director of StartOut. It's an organization that connects and educates LGBTQ entrepreneurs to empower great leaders and businesses.
Yeah, well, there's an alternative Pride March this year and everything because some people feel like it's been co-opted by a corporate sponsor.
Very neat. Wow.
Very interesting, but
Yeah.
I feel like that's the next iteration. And anything when things go mainstream, we live in a capitalist society,
That's
right?
right.
Welcome, Andre. How are you doing?
Doing great. How are you doing?
Andres.
Andre, so you think queerness is being marketed to sell music, media, anything under the sun?
Everything, yes. Absolutely. Can't walk through Times Square without just seeing rainbows everywhere.
So at a certain point, does it become offensive?
You see, we're pragmatists. So we need all the allies to be successful. So if that's a way of getting as many allies in as possible, so be it.
So, straight artists like Taylor Swift, I guess Lady Gaga sort of straight, or have made a huge statement in the music industry by coming out and saying, I'm LGBTQIA, whatever all the vowels are, friendly. Is it good, bad, medium?
So obviously, it's much more complicated than just like a short answer. But the way I like to see it, so we as a community, and including our entrepreneurs at StartOut, we want to see it at a table. You want to see it at a table, not the kids' table. And so if at this table right now, we only have allies and foes. And so if we want them to make room for us, we have to go to their turf. So yeah, it can be offensive, of course. It also feeds that misconception that now that we got marriage equality, or hopefully we'll keep that, that everything's good and hunky-dory, but that's just not the case. So it feeds the misperception, all those rainbow colors everywhere. Well, it's festive, it's wonderful, we love the party, it's great, and love to honor all the great things. It's a little more tricky than that.
How does your organization work to empower LGBTQ entrepreneurs? StartOut organization.
Well, thanks for the question, appreciate it. So we're a national accelerator, if you will, for LGBTQ entrepreneurs. So our mission is to increase the number, the diversity, and the impact of our entrepreneurs to drive the economic empowerment of our community.
And how do you do that? Through what initiatives? Through
Yeah.
what kind of work?
So we have a number of, first of all, we have an online platform, and it's like consider it a marketplace or just a place for everyone to get together, to connect, to support each other, to inspire each other, and so on. So it's online on startout.org, and then offline we run 60 to 100 events nationwide to put people together in person because
Busy.
they still want to. Oh yeah, but I have a great team and wonderful volunteers. It's mostly volunteers, and they're fantastic.
So we were discussing earlier a pretty shocking statistic that only about 1/3 of LGBTQ people are open at work, and even today. What do you think about that statistic? This is according to a survey by Verizon Media.
Yeah, I think it's it's correct. I'm quite certain, and it's a sad statistic because we have so much to offer. Our community has so much to offer, and there just makes no sense to discriminate and minimize their contributions to society.
Yeah, and CNBC has also reported that 53% of LGBTQ plus employees have witnessed or faced verbal discrimination at work. That's another shocking statistic, over half.
So yeah, and I mean, it just shows how the general perceptions that LGBTQ people have the same rights and opportunities is completely wrong. So we found the same. So we did our own research, and we found that over a third of entrepreneurs who are looking for money, they're not out to their potential funders. So basically, starting this relationship is, as bad as a marriage, perhaps, or as good as one. You're very connected to your early investors. You're starting with an omission. I don't want to call it a lie, but with an omission, and that doesn't build trust. So yeah, it's a huge issue, and we're fortunate because we have this amazing community to support each other, but we have our work cut out for us.
So listen to this. Entrepreneur Magazine reported that the LGBTQ community has $3.7 trillion in purchasing power.
Wow.
That is major. I mean, do you think it's important that LGBTQ people use their power to support LGBTQ companies?
Absolutely. We have to use every power, every path to power, every ounce of influence we can have, because guess what? We're not hurting anyone. Quite to the contrary, we're actually increasing the GDP, we're increasing business, we're contributing to society. But let me just mention one thing. Yes, the purchasing power might be there. It's 3.724 billion, again, or trillion, it doesn't matter. What, again, this statistic does is feed the misconception that we have equal rights. So yes, we should use what we have, we should use the rights we have and make an impact. But we need to go much, much further, and that's why we exist. And we're super excited about Pride Month, celebrating what we have. But
it's becoming more and more mainstream. It's shocking compared to 10 years ago. Pride Month is now, like Hispanic Heritage Month or Black History Month. It's a mainstay, especially in a place like New York.
Yeah, we get a whole month, no less, right?
Yeah.
No, it's awesome. I mean, we got to celebrate, right? It's a long, long fight, and so every now and then we got to sit back or celebrate the achievements. People came before us, paved the way for us. Amazing people risked their careers, risked their lives. So let's just take a moment and recognize all those people.
Celebrate what we are doing right now.
Progress. Celebrate progress.
Yes, progress
Yes.
it is.
Andres, thank you so much for joining us here on Bold TV.
Thank you so much for having me.
Happy Pride Month.
Happy Pride to you too.